Okay, everybody. Hey, how's it going? I did say first, welcome to watching and thanks for watching. I did say in the Sims Full House unboxing that we would put the Sims 2 sneak preview disc at the end of the unboxing, but in alternative, I thought it'd be better to make a separate video. So we're gonna look at this together. We're gonna put this into the computer and just have a look. So there's a disc there, and this was the. I think they don't use this logo for Sims 2. I think this was an alternative original one. I'm not really sure, I don't really know about it, but I'm going to do some research later on and find out about it. So, let's put the disc in and load it up. Okay. Wait for the autoplay thing to pop up. Shouldn't be. Oh, here we go. Run loader. Okay. And also, you don't need to install this when you get there's no installation required. It's not part of the expansion packs or anything. It's just it's basically just a bonus disc that you get with the Full House package. So let's run it. Oh, what's in the volume up? Maxis. Loading. Let's hope this doesn't take too long. I just see 3 balls floating around connected to this one big ball. There's a red and a green and a blue. Shouldn't take much longer. When you install... Oh, actually, never mind. Okay, so there we have the Sims symbol right there. Inside, Sims 2, 2003? What? Was this made in... okay, maybe, I think, because Sims 2 actually came out during 2004, I'm pretty sure, but this was, that's weird, because Sims Full House was released early 2005. I don't really get that. That's a bit weird. But anyway, who gives a shit, because we're in 2013 now. But 2005 was a good year, I missed that year. So we have tabs here, we have, oh, hang on, okay, what's new in The Sims 2? A whole new look, play for a lifetime, generations. Oh, what that go up for? There we go. New generations, history, Sims history, and screen grabs. Okay, well let's go through them all. We'll go through them all together. So what's new in The Sims 2? Click to see the overview, side view, and rear view of what's new in The Sims 2. Okay. This is before Sims 2 came out. This is just a preview. I was expecting them to give you like a 5-minute demo or something, but no.
The Sims product as a whole and the franchise is really about player creativity. As I said, the ability for the player to tell a story.
Tim Lee Tournier. I don't know how to say that last name.
I think Sims 2 is just going to be spectacular. I think it's the ground floor of a whole new adventure.
It is so much more engaging and immersive because we've been able to increase the scene, the setting, the environment, as well as the Sims themselves.
It feels much more...
Oh, this guy's the creator of The Sims. Absolute legend of a guy.
As opposed to watching them from a high balcony.
Wasn't for him.
With The Sims 1. The Sims are turning from kind of two-dimensional cartoon figures into surprisingly real virtual people.
Where we've been spending most of our time and investing our effort is to really make them come alive.
Groovy.
For the first time, you actually get to follow your Sims through their lifetime.
Toddlers, they become kids become teenagers become adults.
The grandparents and the parents and the grandchildren, and that you have this interconnected family tree, and you can see those relationships play themselves out on the screen.
They get pregnant, they get buff, they get overweight. They are more interesting to play with, more interesting to nurture and
Senior Vice President, Studio General Manager of Maxis.
The house is automatically more interesting, the environment is in 3D, it's more visceral, The neighborhood is bigger. You can have thousands of lots in there.
I don't want to say, oh, it's in 3D and that's why it's better, but it's amazing how much more connected players are going to feel to that world because you can zoom in and out of it and rotate around it, and it never disappears from the screen. You've always got that house that you've created and the characters that you've created, and you can look at them at any angle.
The Sims have huge egos because they know that there's millions of people watching everything they do.
Hokey hokey.
This isn't here for too long. Spa, a couch. Oh, rejected.
It's a wide open universe where we're trying
Nice
to make
mustache.
it really so much better and not lose the spirit of where it came from. We love this franchise. We want this franchise to go on and on and on. And we want everybody to keep loving it and keep having a great time and living their fantasies.
You will have to experience it. I can make more mischief in The Sims 2 than I can make in real life, I think, but I haven't figured that out yet. Maybe it's a worthy ongoing experiment.
Can that happen? I didn't know that could happen. Yes, it is. Yes, it does. Okay, so that was the what's new in The Sims today. It's basically just a little behind the scenes thing. We have naming the Sims. Is this just for all the? This is for the one tab. Whoa, this is going to be a long ass video. Okay, naming the Sims.
On The Sims, it was a very long process for that game, and it was very hard sell. Initially, a lot of people didn't think again about taking out the trash, cleaning the toilet would be very fun. And so I kind of took the project underground. We had a lot of different names for the project over the years. When I first took it underground and made it kind of a black box project, it was Project X for about a year. Actually before that it was Dollhouse, which I originally, when I first thought of The Sims, I called it Dollhouse. And I found that term didn't go over very well with teenage boys. Not well at all, actually. So I stopped calling it that. I swore never to call it Dollhouse again. And then it went to Project X for many years. Then it went to Jefferson, which was kind of a code name.
Jefferson.
And it was based upon Thomas Jefferson's, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, which was kind of the goal of the game. Then eventually it kind of re-emerged, became The Sims and became kind of a full production project and everybody knew about it. But for many years it was kind of hidden underneath the storm drains.
Okay, let's go into a new tab. Okay, put yourself into the game.
When you play The Sims or SimCity, or any of these sim games, you can't help but then go out and have a different perception of the environment around you. It makes you reflect on the internal balances you're making in your own life between, work and leisure, friends and family. I know a lot of women have written me and said that they put their boyfriends in the game along with them, and they see what happens, and then they tell their boyfriend, what happened in the game. And I don't think they expect that the game is simulating what will happen, but they're more curious to see what their boyfriend's reaction is going to be when they tell them what happened, when he was flirting with his next door neighbor.
Ooh. I think if it wasn't, I'm pretty sure Will Wright, the guy that was just interviewed then, he came up with the idea from Sims, somehow to do with his house catching on fire or something. That was in the, was that right? Yeah, it destroyed everything and you had to start, it destroyed everything and you had to start again, but that was, a question in the Sims 2 installation progress. There was a quiz that came up. When you install the Sims 2, there's, it has like a quiz, and there's also a memory game, and that just to keep you, just to keep you waiting while it installs. So that's pretty clever. So where did the name Maxis come from? Okay.
Well, when we started the company, my partner Jeff Braun and I kind of split up, and I was doing the technical design, creative stuff, and Jeff was doing the business stuff. And so Jeff decided we needed a name that, and he had all these rules. It was something like had to be between 5 and 7 letters long, had to have a Z or an X or a T in it. It had to be meaningless.
Here they come up with the name.
And so we started brainstorming on it.
Eventually it would say Maxis.
With the name Maxis. And then when we realized that if you turned it backwards, it spelled 6 a.m.
Oh.
We thought, that's really cool, and we can use that someday.
No, I never thought of that. I never realised that. All those years I've been playing Sims and I see Maxis come up on the start screen. I never noticed that it's spelled 6 a.m. backwards. That's clever. Okay, a Simlish session. It's gonna teach us about the Sims language. They don't even say the same stuff. It just It's like it randomly just generates gobbledygook all the time. So let's see what this is about. Okay. Oh, so this guy is generating
You can show the strain a little bit when you put him down nice again. Let's leave a little space to let this run through just here. So you're happy, everything's great. Oh, happy, little heavy. Put down now. Space. So give her just a head nod space. You go again. No.
Jerry Lawler, director. This is actually funny. Liz Manorowski.
And this is really fun.
Okay, so that's how they voice the Sims language. They don't get well known people. I would have expected it to be actors and stuff, voice actors. But yeah. Okay, so we have hang on, let me go to the main menu. Okay, we have a whole new look. So this is like sort of comparing. I think from my understanding, this is comparing the new look.
Well, some people think it's risky that in Sims 2 we decided to go to black and white and stick figures, but we thought it just gives the player more room for imagination, and we kind of hope that some people will get crayons to start drawing on the TV screen.
I love the music they put in this. I got a kick out of it.
The first thing I noticed playing The Sims 2 is that the visual quality is just so much better than it was in Sims 1. You know, lighting, there's weather, reflective effects.
The environment is a full 3D world. We've got foundations and decks now, which means that instead of having this really interesting topology and then having to make a flat space to build on, you can just, drag stuff out and build it. You can make that Hollywood house on the hill, you can make the house in the canyon.
You can do much more interesting structures. You're not limited to the same 2 floors. You can do much more, hillside developments.
Fences and real roofs and diagonal doors and windows, which sound mundane, but it's a huge new thing.
And all of a sudden, the world seems dramatically more colorful, more rich.
It makes it a much more compelling experience because you just feel so connected to what's on the screen and it feels so real.
Mookie hokey. To me, the most exciting part of The Sims 2 is how much we're putting into the Sims themselves.
One of the new features of Sims 2 is this very dynamic Create a Sim, where you're actually going in and choosing the genetic attributes of your Sim.
Okay.
You can get in very close to the people, and they have much more detailed, smooth animations, which means we're able to convey much more subtle aspects of their personality and mood through their animation and their face.
With skin that looks touchable and gestures that have nuance.
The fact that they now have facial expressions, the fact that you can accessorize them, you can put makeup on them, all of that just goes to your ability to create characters that you believe in and can connect with.
Okay. Some might actually think that Sims 3, I've heard a lot of people ranting about it, how, not just because it was 25 years before Sims 1, not a lot of people actually know that because they didn't make it very clear, but some actually say that it was an abomination to the Sims series, and some are actually saying that the Sims run is over, but it was a good run, but they should stop making it. But I say keep it coming. It's doing good. I mean, I'd actually have to say Sims 2 is actually probably my favourite in the entire franchise. But no, Sims 3, I have no problem with that. I still think it's just as good. So yeah, okay, Lucy's hair-raising story. Okay.
When I was a kid, I don't know if anybody remembers, but there was a moment in time where wings were just all the rage. And so I got my hair cut in wings, and they were these really kind of horrific bangs that stood out like that. I then decided that I would perm these and ended up looking a little bit like a helicopter. My mom then tried to cut them to make this better. It just kept getting worse. I ended up looking as if I had this sort of starting of a mullet hairdo. And I don't think I lived that one down for a little while.
Okay, that was a pointless video. Create a Tim.
What would I change about my face and create a sim?
It's like facing a hole.
First of all, I think I would
This guy's name's Tim.
make my cheeks a little less long, and then I would give myself a little bit more of a chin, and I think I would also like to give myself some eyelids. And I could give one of my kids brown eyes, because I got gypped in that particular department.
Oh, I thought they were going to show you they could actually do it. Okay, Will starts over.
I started The Sims in '93. You know, I started a long, long time ago and worked on it kind of in the background for many years. But 2 years previous, in 1991, our home burned down in an open house fire, and we lost everything. You know, I got out with a few pictures, and that was it. So from square one, we had to kind of build our lives back up. We had to go, you know, kind of buy a house, then buy furniture, buy clothes, buy all the, you know, buy a new car, all the stuff that had burned up in the fire. And it was interesting just kind of looking at the order in which, you know, we acquired things. You know, step one, new underwear, toothbrush. You know, step two, you know, maybe some new pants, shirts. You know, and then, you know, step three, you know, rent a hotel room, and kind of building your life back up. You know, and getting a sense of the materialistic basis. You know, and which things are really important on a minute-to-minute basis. At the same time, you know, we got out of the fire safely, and my daughter was elsewhere, and she was safe. And we realized how meaningless these material things were relative to our safety. And so that was just, you know, very interesting, that whole process that happened, you know, a couple years before I started thinking about doing The Sims.
Okay, so that was what I referenced that earlier. So Will Wright, basically, his house burnt down, everything destroyed, and he sort of had to do the same process that happened in the Sims games, but in real life. So that's what inspired him to do this, okay? And we also have planning with The Sims.
We're in the process of putting an addition onto our house, and my wife was having trouble visualizing it, so we actually used Sims 2 to design it so that she could look at it and understand how the space would lay out in 3D. That's when you really feel like, wow, I'm making something that not only is a game, but has all these other uses that you don't even think about. And I think that that's what's amazing about The Sims, is that The Sims, nobody plays The Sims the same. Every player has their own way of approaching the game and the gameplay. And there are people who all they do is build houses. They don't even turn on the simulator. They just use it as this kind of 3D architectural tool. But they can always flip that switch and actually see how the Sims are going to respond to that environment.
Yeah. You sort of point there, not everybody, it wouldn't be possible for every single player to play the game the same, because it's a simulator, so yeah. Okay, so we got play for a lifetime. Okay. Click to get the scoop on the new gameplay in The Sims 2. Okay.
Over the course of a Sims lifetime in The Sims 2, you're going to have them go through these life events. They range anything from their first birthday to their first job to their first crush or their first kiss.
Musa, take it.
Is going to be taking the Sims through different strategic challenges at each of those stages, kind of those rites of passage that we associate with growing up.
And how you decide to play that as a player, how you take those first steps into a teenage relationship and that first crush, and when you might try to flirt with that special someone, is how the player actually impacts the life of their Sim.
You want good food, hate eating bad food.
Oh, Mama Sophie!
The people themselves have a lot more awareness, you know, of what's going on around them. You know, when somebody comes in the room, you know, they'll see them turn their head. They might smile if it's a friend. They notice if these people over here are arguing. So that really brings up their believability several notches.
You're going to know when someone's a slob. You're going to know when somebody is really nice. You're going to know when somebody is really active. You're going to see that on the screen and the way that the Sims behave.
I've seen this clip about 3 times. Not this bit, the spa bit.
There are omelets, there's breakfast cereal,
they can react to things such as a spider being in the room that they might be afraid of.
They get nervous when they're near pink flamingos.
There's soup, there's turkey.
Another sim who has gotten into a bit of hygiene failure and is getting a bit smelly, they're going to walk by and just, whew, that's not good.
They got body types, you know, you can feed them up and get them fat, and you can put them on the workout bench and get them buff and trim. The way it happens is, you know, the sim will work out, and he'll reach that moment, and then he'll get up and bing, and he'll be buff, which is sort of how we all wish it works. There's hamburgers, there's hot dogs.
Man, it just ends like that. I remember my first kiss on The Sims. It was good. Okay, on with the next one. Fire!
I think a key element of The Sims is things burn up. And in The Sims 2, we've got, you know, lots of things that burn up and lots of new ways to start the fire and more intelligent response to the fire. Family behavior in the face of fire, which I think is important. But more importantly, you know, it's an effect. In Sims 1, it was a sprite. It was a piece of art, you know, and we'd have a couple of frames of it, and, you know, do this thing. It was very symbolic. And in Sims 2, we've got a much better fire.
Well, fire was one of our traditional disasters. You know, SimCity, you know, no matter what the disaster was, it always ended up kind of resolving the fire. You know, there's an earthquake, it started a lot of fires.
I don't do specifically flambe. I do, basically, I burn off the alcohol in sauces. And I guess technically that is a flambe. I don't do a lot of decorative flambe.
Get a job. What else do we have? Get a job, caffeine, and work life. And we're halfway through the disc. We're on the 3rd out of the 6th tab.
I'm still in my first job.
A failed off-Broadway actor.
I was a paper girl when I was about 10 years old, so Sunday mornings I used to really brew because the papers are so heavy and I had about 8 miles to walk with them, and I'd have to keep coming back to the central pile and get back out.
And a bored commercial fisherman.
What I did was I actually watched dogs for a living.
And a non-world-class writer.
Could be my last job.
Caffeine.
I like to get up early. I get up as early as I can. Sometimes it's 4 a.m., 5 a.m. I make espresso at home, and I usually do that at the very last minute before I run out, and I try to get to work by 10.
This is my iced tea mug. Every morning I fill it up with about 44 ounces of tea and the rest ice, and then I drink it all day, and if it's a long day, then I fill it twice. But most people usually comment on, my God, that is the biggest mug I've ever seen, and I can't believe you drink that, and I'm sure you spend all day in the bathroom.
Sometimes stop at a well-known place, you know, from Seattle where I can get coffee.
Let's see, wake up, take a shower, leave the house, stop and get my coffee and Mr. Muffin, which is very important. I used to always eat breakfast, but now I just eat a muffin, and now I eat lunch. I didn't used to eat lunch, so lunch has kind of come into my life. Breakfast has kind of dropped down a little bit.
So I do fulfill my bladder motive quite a bit, I guess.
Okay. And one more, work/life.
In the game industry, it can be extremely high pressure, and to survive in the game industry, you really have to learn how to pace yourself, and how to look back and get a bigger picture on what's really important.
For me, this place is sort of a big idea kitchen.
One of the things that really unites us is we all really do have a passion for making games. It's something that is part of us, and it's something that ties us together.
I love this job, but I love cooking a little more.
Okay, well, we're halfway through. I think we're gonna just continue there'll be a part 2 to this video. So either just stay tuned for tomorrow and you just watch it there, otherwise click the link to the next video. So we'll see you there for Generations and the final 3 tabs to the disc. So thanks for watching, guys. I'm Nathan, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.